persecution. Some held signs saying "Free Sister's Body," a reference to the remains of Kafei Wang.
A heart attack on a 30-year-old woman is, of course, the typical lie you get from totalitarian regimes.
Sean Steele serves as Republican National Committeeman of California. His wife is Orange County Supervisor Michelle Steele, whose family fled their own brutal regime in North Korea.
We're talking about China, talking about them being an adversary for the 21st century. We got to talk about their human rights record.
And according to Amnesty International, that record is amongst the worst.
Amnesty International has documented severe and widespread human rights violations against Falun Gong practitioners. We have documented cases of torture, inhumane practices, lack of freedom of expression.
Your reaction to the video we just showed you for this story?
It's unbelievable. It's almost too much for television, but it's such an important story because there's millions of people involved, but it's also personal. It's Los Angeles, it's California. It's what people in this state have been living with for years, and finally the story's getting out. If we put a spotlight on it, it might actually help save the lives of many, many people we don't even know.
He is a hardcore human rights advocate, and he went on to tell us that he does plan to make the Trump administration aware of the ongoing persecution of Falun Gong in China, as well as the ongoing situation with Kafei Wang's body. Now, he also told us he will be making a presentation on this specific subject at the Republican National Committee next spring. We did reach out to the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. for a comment in response to this story, but as of tonight, we have not heard back from them. Guys?
And Sean Steele is in communication with the president himself.
Yep.
Falun Gong, a lot of our viewers probably have never heard of this before.
I'd never heard of it before.
What is it about it that is, one, so scary for China, and two, so great that these people are risking everything to practice it?
So there are tens of millions of Falun Gong practitioners in China. What is it exactly? You saw the people kind of doing the stretches. It's basically spiritual practitioners in China. What is it exactly? You saw tens of millions of Falun Gong.
Falun Gong, a lot of our viewers probably have never heard of this before.
I'd never heard of it before.
What is it about it that is, one, so scary for China, and two, so great that these people are risking everything to practice it?
So there are tens of millions of Falun Gong practitioners in China. What is it exactly? You saw the people kind of doing the stretches. It's basically spiritual meditating and a sense of bettering yourself through spirituality. And why does the Chinese government have a problem with it? Again, there are tens of millions of them. They're very well organized. They've held protests before because of these crackdowns, and the government doesn't like that. They see it as a threat to their power, even going so far as to call it a menace to society. So it's really just, they're threatened by them. There's so many of them. At one point, years ago, they actually outnumbered the Communist Party.
So for the family of the sister, they want her body back because it's been almost 20 years.
Yeah, you would think, what do they expect to get if they do get the body back?
Yeah.
What they're hoping to do is have a formal funeral for her, and more importantly, they want an autopsy. Again, the camp told her, or they told the family that she died of a heart attack at around 30 years old. The family doesn't believe that. They saw her at the hospital. They want an autopsy. They want to check for blunt force trauma on her bones, that sort of thing.
Eye-opening reporting. Bill
I'll
Melugin,
say.
thank you very much.
Family of the sister.
The family that she died of a heart attack at around 30 years. They're hoping to do is, you would think, what do they expect?